Alright, I figured I would make a video here about what I have here. So this is my Mega Drive 2, and inside there you see a strange cartridge, which is so big that the cartridge doesn't even fit in the shell. So cut a hole at the top of the cartridge so that the entire thing would fit. And a USB cable. So this is a development kit that I have. It's not an official development kit made by Sega back in the day. It's a homebrew development kit with an FPGA, which you see there, the Spartan 6, which was made in 2014, I believe. And you can do a lot of cool stuff with it. So I thought I would show just how easy you can make some stuff with this, and what you can do with it. So that's what it looks like. Now let me put the camera down here. Let's do that. It'll look a little dark now, but it will be alright in a moment. I want to actually put something on the screen. So let's turn on the console. And now let's switch over to my terminal here. And so I have let's remove these extra files so we can start fresh. So I have let's use Megaturken as an example. So with the dev kit you use the loader command, and then you use W if you want to write a ROM, or read if you want to read a ROM. So we want to write the ROM, and we use Megaturken. And then you do colon and 0. That tells it where do you want to write this. So you if you're writing a ROM, you want to do it at 0, or you can specify an offset. But for this purpose, we want to write it at 0. And then we use X2, and that will force a reboot of the Mega Drive after it has written the ROM. So if we do this, it will send the ROM over and it starts running. Alright, let me get in game after these intro screens. So we have, maybe I'll make that a little darker actually. Might still be a little bit too bright. I think that's good. Yeah, that looks better. So you see we have 3 lives at the bottom left, and if we go over here and we die, we lose a life, and now it's 2. So what we can do is that we can start debugging, and I will hope that this works, because sometimes the connection is a little bit crap, and I don't know if that's my USB cable or something, but we'll see if we can get it working. It's a little unstable sometimes. So what we want to do here is GDB bridge, then -L to listen on a port, and let's just say something like 7,000. So now it's listening for a connection. So now we do this command, which launches GDB, which is a debugger. And we do, well, first we set some commands here. So we do set remote and interrupt on connect, yes. So now we actually want to connect, so we do target, remote, localhost, and then the port, which we set to 7000. And if the connection is working, then it will freeze right there. So it halted the CPU basically, and we are debugging. So what we can do now is we can do a RAM dump, dumping the entire RAM by doing monitor read, and then we specify where we want to save it. So I put it in my home folder, and I'll say 2 lives. That's what we have. And it wrote that. Now let's continue. And then I want to die again. And there. Froze it again, and we do another dump. And we do name the one life. And let's continue, and also let's use a bomb and do another dump here. Put that to 2 bombs. All right. So now we look in our folder. We have this file: 1 life, .bin, 2 bombs, .bin, 2 lives, .bin, 64K in size, which is a full dump of the RAM at that specific point where we dumped it. So let's exit out of the debugger. And let's actually turn the console off and on again, and send over the ROM one more time. So we do, well, we can probably quit out of this window. So we send that over again. So now we have these RAM dumps that we made. We name them 2 lives, 1 life, and 2 bombs. So let me go in game again, and let's just pause it, like an actual pause. So now we can use the command hack dump, and we give it the first file, which is 2 lives. Then the second file is, then we have 1 life, and then we do a comparison. So on the first file we had 2 lives, and on the second file we have 1 life. So it does a comparison on the RAM with every value, comparing where it changed from a 2 to a 1 in the RAM there, and we'll get this one address, a candidate at BF26. So this is most likely our life count. So now we want to find out where in the code does it write to that address. So there are a couple of different ways we can go about this. I'll show both ways, hopefully, if it works. Sometimes I get a USB error, but hopefully it works. So we do loader again, but we do -t, which means it's gonna trace So before I actually go through and do this, let me get my health down, because this will eat up a lot of disk space very, very quickly. Alright, so paused it there. Now let's start tracing. And let's die. And let's stop tracing. Now you saw I was only tracing for a few seconds there, but look at this massive file, it's already huge. There's a tracer.log that we created. It's 36 megabytes, and that only ran for a few seconds. If we open up this file, we won't be able to read it because it's in a binary format. You can't make sense out of any of this. But there's another command we can do, which is log read tracer.log, and let's output that to tracer.text. So now, when it's done, we can actually read this in a humanly readable format. So now we can open it up, tracer.text, and here you see everything that the CPU is doing during the time that we were tracing. So here you can see RD so this is a CPU and is reading on this offset and this value. So if we do a search here, actually before we do that, let's run hackdump here again. Hackdump so we can see the value. Hackdump 2 lives. And 1 life, and it was 2 and it was 1, and we got that candidate BF26. So actually when it's a RAM address is these zeros, it will be Fs. So FFFF BF26. So that's the physical address of the RAM. So we do CWH FF BF26. We'll see if we find something. It should find something. Yeah, there we go. So here it is writing to this address BF26. Right there. So remember when we were tracing, we had 3 lives and then we died, and now we are at 2 lives. So here's a writing the 2. Here is writing the 2. Where does it write this? Well, we can look at the reads before, and we'll see where in the code it's writing. So 1768 looks like a good candidate here for where in the code in the ROM is doing this. So if we jump over to this window, we can use the disassembler, and we'll feed it the ROM, and then we go 1760, let's say, and 10 lines from there. So here's some code that let's see. Yeah, so this line here, 1766, it's moving the contents of the register D1 into this value in the RAM, which we have concluded is our life count. So we can write a patch where where it doesn't do this. So there's a couple of ways we can do this. So actually this is the line where it's doing, let's go back a little bit further actually. So let's do, I don't know, 5C. Right, so here 175C is reading the contents of the RAM, putting that in D1. We actually need to go back a little bit more. Sorry. So let's do from maybe 50. All right. So here we go. Well, we'll do from 175A just so I can put only what we need to see. So it's putting a 1 in D0 just to understand the code here. You don't really need to do this, but let's do this. So it's putting a 1 in D0. So D0 has the contents of 1. Then it's reading your current life count from this memory address and puts that in D1. So D1 would have 3 in this case because we haven't died yet. This command is going to take this value or rather it will subtract this value from this value and then store the result in D1. So it'll take 3 and then subtract 1 and we'll update D1 to be 2. And then on the next line, the next instruction, it is then putting the updated results, which is now a 2, and put it back into the memory address. So this is the code that we need to worry about. So we can write a patch a couple of different ways. We can skip this line, or we can skip this line. It doesn't matter. But yeah, now let's write a patch. So let's do patch.asm. Gonna write some assembly code here. And well, actually, before we do that, so we'll focus on this instruction here, where it's actually putting the updated contents back into the RAM. So you see this instruction is at 1766, and then the next one is at 176A. So 66, 67, 68, 69, and then the next one starts at 6A. So it's a 4-byte instruction. This right here is a 4-byte instruction. Now we want to do nothing here, a NOP, no operation, but that's a 2-byte instruction. So we actually want to do 2 NOPs, so that is the same length as the initial instruction. So we'll write this to a file, and then we will compile this with the VASM assembler. We want to make it the format as a binary, do the patch.asm, and the output as patch.bin. And it assembled without any issues. If we now look at that patch.bin, you see it's not readable. It's a binary format, so we do like hex dump to see the hexadecimal. Then that's 4E71, which corresponds to the NOP instruction. So 4E71 is NOP, and we do that twice. Not that you really need to know, but it's always good to know that. So now we can patch our game. We want to patch here at 1766. We want to replace this line with the patch that we just wrote. So to do that, we can do loader. Alright, just like when we wrote the ROM, except we'll point it to our patch, and we'll specify, instead of 0, we'll specify the exact address where we want to put it. So 1766, and we won't issue a reset this time. So there we go. We just wrote that patch live on the fly while the game was running, and now if we die, we should not lose a life. Oh, actually we did. Oh, I put it in the wrong format. I need to do like that, 0x1766. So now we should not lose a life. So let's try when we have lives. So I have 3 lives, and I still have 3 lives. So yeah, we now have infinitive lives. We were able to dump the RAM. We were able to use hack dump to compare the values of our 2 RAM dumps. We had 2 lives when we did the first RAM dump, and then we died, and then we made another RAM dump, and now our life count was 1, and we compared that, and we got the address where your lives are stored. We then used tracer, trace log, and log read to generate this file, where we found the write to that address, updated it to 2. Before that, we were able to see where in the code the program was when that happened. We were then able to look at the code, see what it was doing, and then we wrote a patch file to skip out on this line and then patch it live on the fly, and now we have a limited amount of lives. It just doesn't decrease. So that's pretty cool that we're able to do that with so little issues, just relatively easy. We're able to find that, and yeah, we're actually patching the ROM. We're not patching the RAM, we're patching the ROM where it actually writes the code. And we're doing all this while the game is still running, which is also insanely cool. Now we also did a RAM dump of our bomb count. We have 2 bombs that bin, and on the 2 lives we had 3 bombs, so let's do another hack dump here. 2 lives and 2 bombs. We had 3 bombs and then we had 2 bombs. Now here we have more candidates because there were more values that changed from a 3 to a 2 during that time. So we could go through all of these and try and see which one it is. I happen to know already that it's this one, is B dot. That's the value of the bomb count. So let's try to do the same thing, except now let's do the other method. See, I said there were multiple methods you can do this. One was doing the tracer log and reading the contents of that and searching through it. Now let's do it purely with the disassembler. So we'll do the disassembler, and we'll give it the ROM, but let's tell it to run from the address 0. Let's just do that right to the end, pretty much. But then we do grep, and we do ff b dot, and it will filter out. Like if I didn't do this grep part, it will print out the entire disassembly of the entire ROM, right? Which takes some time, a lot of code. If we do the grep part, it'll filter out this part, so any line containing this string of text ffb dot, that's all it's gonna show. So here we go. So again, looking at which one could be the correct value. So here it's putting 3 into this address. I'm guessing this is the initialization and the default value when you start up the stage. And this is interesting because here it's subtracting 1. Here it is subtracting 1 from the memory address there. So if we go and look that address and a little bit before it, so let's do A0 maybe. No, that's not gonna work. So maybe 9 and 9C. Okay. So you see what when I put in A0, we got a bunch of weird code here, and that's because there's no code at A0 because it goes at 9E, and then the next instruction is at A2. So there's no instruction at A0. So you can't do that. So because this is a because this is a 4-byte instruction. It goes really weird if you try to do A0. So this instruction is at 90 and then the one after is at A2. So yeah, anyway, this is what we were gonna look at. Subtracting 1 from B dot. So the same patch that we wrote before should work, because this is also a 4-byte instruction. So let's try to do the same thing. We're loading up our patch at 49A8. So right here. And let's see, let's use a bomb. Look at that. It's not decreasing, we have unlimited bombs. Normally you only have 3, so this is definitely more than 3. But yeah, that's just how easy it is to work with this dev kit, and you can dump the RAM, you can debug the code, you can run a debugger. I was running straight GDB, but you can use a front end like DDD or something. I like to work in GDB directly, because then I can write the commands like the monitor read commands to dump the RAM and stuff. And yeah, then you can do a trace log and you can read through all of the instructions, all the reads and writes that it's doing. Like obviously that took up a lot of disk space. We traced for like 5 seconds and it was 36 megabytes in size. Or you can use the disassembler and just grep out the value that you are interested in, and you'll see everything containing that, and then you can look, oh, here's a subtract. So let's patch out that, and yeah. And yeah, we patched this on the fly while the game was still running. We can also do a read. So we can do like again sheets.bin, and we want to read from 0, so from the start of ROM, and it's a 1 megabyte ROM, so we want to do until that point. And now we wrote our ROM here, so now we have a 1 megabyte ROM dump right here. We can then write that one and do a reboot. And so now we should have both infinite lives and infinite bombs. So let me die. Yep, still got 3 lives. And yep, still got unlimited bombs. So yeah, that's pretty cool. That's all I wanted to show really. Was how to work with this development kit, homebrew development kit. And yeah, it's really easy to work with. It's amazing actually. I really love this. I'm so happy that I have this. And you can not only use it to hack like retail games, you can use this for homebrew development obviously, so debugging your code on real hardware and stuff like that. So yeah, pretty cool.